Welcome to Bexel new webinar Mastering BIM Data Volume 7. Thanks for joining me today for one more useful presentation. My name is Jelena Petrovic and I am a Senior BIM Manager at Bexel Consulting and member of Bexel team for more than 14 years. Pleasure is mine. I have chance to share my knowledge with you and guide you through these sessions through different workflows which can help you to easier manage your projects using modern technologies in construction industry. Topics for today's 1-hour session are reserved for creating 4D schedule animation in pre-construction project phase. I believe that by the end of the session you will learn how Bexel Manager can help you even in early project stages when we do not have that much information related to the project, but still analysis can be done using Bexel solutions, either using Bexel desktop application, but also our cloud-based solutions, which are rapidly improving from month to month to satisfy projects and our client needs. Here we see general steps for creating 4D schedule animation within Bexel Manager BIM environment on an example of project in pre-construction project phase. They include the following: 4D scheduling inputs overview, including main, sequencing and project milestones, 3D BIM model overview, selection sets creation, cost classification creation based on quantity takeoff, cost classification adjustment, creating zones based on selection sets and methodology creation, smart construction schedule creation and schedule adjustment, generating 4D schedule animation and its overview within Bexel Manager desktop application. Once the animation is created within Bexel Manager desktop application, we can extend our workflow and utilize all existing features our cloud-based solutions include. It includes following steps: creating new online project and publishing Bexel Manager BIM model to the cloud as a new project version. Create interactive Power BI dashboards and visualizations with 4D schedule animation included and overview results within Power BI dashboard. Project version overview within Bexel Common Data environment including 4D schedule animation using Bexel cloud-based modules. Before we start with today's topic, let me briefly introduce with our company and do some indispensable marketing segment. Bexel Consulting is software development and consulting company with extensive experience of using BIM in construction and technology developed to provide overall project construction management. With almost 2 decades of software development experience, our main product is BIM management software Bexel Manager. Our consulting services are used on a global level for the last 15 years, and Bexel software solutions are presented in 72 countries worldwide and used for managing more than 6,500 projects. More information about us and our software ecosystem you can find on our webpage, where you can also request a free trial version of the desktop application or trial versions of our cloud-based solutions, which include Bexel Viewer, Bexel Docs, Bexel FM, and Portfolio Manager. Of course, visit our help center with detailed explanations for features and tools of Bexel Manager. For all existing users with Bexel Manager licenses, there is Bexel User Area, which is frequently updated and refreshed with the latest demo models, templates, scripts, and additional materials available for free download and use. Just to remind you, as always, that you can send your comments and questions in the chat section of the streaming platform you are using. My colleagues will make sure to answer all your questions by the end of the session. Let's start with today's demo case and what we have here. The only inputs we have for our 4D schedule animation is construction schedule, we see here. And I have to say, this is one general schedule where we have only basic tasks, so our project includes, and their duration, including start and finish dates. If we look deeper, the schedule includes the same tasks for each of the buildings, and we have 7 buildings in total, and each of them contains construction works organized in 3 groups: site, core and shell, and TI. Also, on the first level, we have work organized in 2 teams, Team A and Team B, and on the other side, we have construction sequence diagram, where we have a graphical overview of the initial construction and execution plan. Here we see for each building which team is in charge for it, and diagram how building's execution is planned. Okay, so these are main inputs from, let me say, from investor, and now based on them, we should create for the schedule and animation. First, we need to have 3D BIM model developed in a way where we will have enough elements that could be used for simulation of construction works. When we are talking about requirements for BIM model development, in this case, where we do not have almost no information except the building's general dimensions and areas, including 2 levels for each building, this leaves us to define requirements to have a really schematic model at the end. So, BIM model development LOD is 100. BIM model should contain basic structural elements that represent the fundamental aspects of the project, like foundations, slabs, walls, columns, roofs, spaces, and surrounding buildings. BIM model elements should be divided in preliminary construction zones with required properties related to buildings and zones included. And software for BIM model development should be Revit Autodesk tool. So requirements for 4D schedule animation includes construction sequences and initial construction schedule that should be followed. And software for 4D schedule simulation creation is marked as Bexel Manager. Let's overview our BIM model we have developed for this case. BIM model for our sample project has been developed using Autodesk Revit authoring tool. It was exported to IFC file format, and as an IFC file it was imported into Bexel Manager BIM environment. So here we see our BIM model within Bexel Manager. We have used IFC BIM entities, also IFC slab, IFC space, IFC column, footing, IFC wall, IFC roof, and also IFC building element proxy, and these are values of IFC entities property used on this project. IFC building element proxy or generic models are used only for surrounding buildings, so we will not work with them today. We can see that there are only few Revit families used for slabs and 1 family for beams, columns and walls. So this model is a really schematic one, but good enough for the purpose we need today. Okay, I have mentioned within BIM model development requirements that it is required to have defined properties for buildings and zones. Property IFC description was used for defining buildings, and property IFC tag was used for defining zones. Here within Properties palette, we can overview the values of these properties and select elements based on their values. This will certainly really speed up process in creating custom breakdowns and smart selection sets creation, but even if we do not have mentioned properties values defined during BIM model development, selection sets could be created manually within Bexel Manager, and also these properties could be set within Bexel Manager by adding related property value for building and zone to certain BIM model elements. So first step is to create selection sets for teams, for Team A and Team B. Selection sets for buildings, we have 7 buildings. Selection sets for zones, we will see how many zones we have for each building. And finally, selection sets for classification. I think it is clear what will be included in the first 3 group of selection sets we will create. related to teams, buildings and zones. And in case of classification, we will simply create selection of elements which will be used for creating classification items. And these selection of elements will be based on scheduled tasks, as it is actually the only information we have in this case. Before we create selection sets, I want to quickly create custom breakdowns where there will be used properties with information about zones and buildings. I'm going to hide surrounding buildings and roads and select all visible elements. You can find the keyboard shortcut if you type CC quickly on the keyboard and use these shortcuts for quick manipulation within 3D view. Now I can select all visible elements that will be included in custom breakdown and go to custom breakdown module and click on new command. Choose from selected elements option, and the name can be the name of the property we will use, like in our case IFC description, where we have information about buildings, or we can just call it as buildings. Elements are already selected, so just click on Use Selection command, and now we should define rules for custom breakdowns creation. With right click on the project, click on Add Rule and choose Property option. Here we select property we want to use for our custom breakdown creation. In our case, it is going to be IFC description. We mark the property and click on OK. To color code elements in different colors depending on the property values, click on Set Color Coding Rule command, and with Generate option we have an overview of the colors that will be used for each building, colors which are defined automatically. Of course, we can change color for each property value, but now I will leave just like it is defined automatically. Click on OK and our custom breakdown has been created. Now we can overview elements in different colors, in this case buildings, within color-coded view. I will create one more custom breakdown where we will use the property IFC tag, which includes information about zones. Okay, I will repeat all steps which are previously explained, but in this case we will use just IFC tag property. We can also color code elements, and the custom breakdown name could just be like zones. And here we have an overview of each zone in different colors, and we can simply select elements using created custom breakdown. Okay, we can go now to selection sets module, and here we will create previously mentioned selection sets. Some of them will be created manually, some of them will be created using custom breakdowns we have just created, and for some of them I will use custom template. First, I'm going to create folders where our selection sets will be included. With right click, we can find Create Selection Folder command, and here we define the folder path and name. First one I will call Teams. Now we can create folder which will include buildings, and we repeat the same action to create folder for zones. Finally, we will create fourth folder which will be related to classification. These folders are currently empty without selection sets, so let's create selection sets within them. First, for teams, in our case we have team A and team B, and we need to create these two selection sets manually, as we do not have any property with defined values for this information. So we select elements in the main 3D viewport which are related to team A. If we look at this diagram, we can exactly see which elements are related to team A. And with right click here directly on desired folder where we want this selection of elements to be included, we can find Create Selection Set from Selection command, and the path is just as I want. Now we should define the name. Let's just call it Team A and click OK. We will do the same for team B. First, we select elements. With right-click, find command for creating selection set from selection, and within create new selection set window, we define name just like team B. Click OK, and here we have selection of elements for both themes our project will contain. To create selection sets for buildings, I will use previously created custom breakdowns, and we do right-click on selection set, click on creation wizard command, and choose from custom breakdown option. First, I will choose to use custom breakdown related to buildings and check all elements. With this option, we will have smart selection sets created, which will be based on the same property rules we have used for custom breakdown creation. I'm going to do the same for creating smart selection sets from custom breakdown, but this time I will use the second one related to zones. Here we have created new selection sets folders with related selection sets for buildings and zones. I will quickly reorganize them with Manage Selection Sets option, where we can move selection sets from one folder to another one. We can edit selection sets folders or selection sets. We can delete them. There is also option for creating new selection sets even here. I will just move selection sets related to buildings to the folder I have initially created. This option, Allow Moving Selection Sets, is checked, and I simply drag desired group of selection sets and drop them to desired folder. Let's do the same with the selection sets related to zones. Simply select selection sets and drag them to this folder related to zones. Now I can delete these two empty selection sets folders. Click on Close, and here we have selection sets organized just as I wanted within certain folders. Let's go further and create selection sets, smart selection sets or group of elements that will be related to classification items. First, I will create only one which is related to slab on ground, for example, and it will be within the subfolder core and shell, the one I'm just creating right now. These selection sets related to classification should be smart because we will use them to create quantity takeoff from which our classification will be created, and this way we will have element queries based on selection sets creation rules. So selection set for slab on ground should include elements which are IFC slab, value of property IFC entity, and with property reference which has value schematic 30 centimeters. We go to New Selection Set command, where selection set will be created from element queries. First query will be based on property value. Property name we will use is IFC entity, which is equal to IFC slab, and we will add one more query also from element query, but I will use in this case reference property, which value is equal to schematic 30 centimeters. Click OK, and here we define selection set name. Let's just call it the same as we have defined within schedule, slab on ground. Down here we can overview rules defined for its creation. Click OK, and smart selection set has just been created. I will export the selection set as a template to show how we can create custom template for smart selection sets creation. Let's call it just a demo. And why I am showing this? I have created custom template for selection sets creation, selection sets related to classification items, which are with the defined selection sets creation rules based on BIM model element properties, where also selection set name and its path is defined, and which can be at the end imported in our model. Just to mention once again that using templates in selection sets creation process or any process within Bexel Manager can help us to speed up process of, in this case, smart selection sets creation, and they can be modified and reused on similar projects. We can overview this simple demo template where we have defined rules for creating selection sets specifically for slab on ground. To conclude what we have previously defined during Smart Selection Sets creation within Bexel Manager, we have defined that our selection set will be within folder named current shell, which is within folder classification, and the name of selection set is slab on ground, and query which was used for selection set creation is based on property values. Property IFC entity with value IFC slab, and property reference with value schematic 30 centimeters. Based on this exported file, I have created one custom template for this project where there are defined rules for each selection set our classification will include, following the principles that within the column A, we define selection set folder names and its path. Within column B, we define specific selection set name, and within column C, we define queries used for selection sets creation. All selection sets names are basically the same as tasks names we have got within construction schedule. For queries, I have used properties such as IFC entity, reference combining their values, and other properties like for IFC space, we had property name with values such as map, partitions, and equipment, and these properties helped to separate some works, even we have only BIM model element, just spaces, to represent some of the construction works. I'm going to import this custom template. We go to templates within selection set module, and I will click on import custom template. Here is the location where I have saved this template preparing for this session, but you can browse any location on your local computer where you have saved the created template. Click on open command and we will be notified that some selection sets already exist. I will just confirm that I won't override them. It is actually this demo selection set I have created related to slab on ground, so it will be overridden. When we have ready selection sets, we can create quantity takeoff, which will be used later for classification creation. Go to quantity takeoff module and click on new command. Here we define name. I will just call this QTO like classification QTO. I will choose selection sets and mark selection set folder classification, the one we have previously created. Click on new selection, and now we define the rule for QTO breakdown. With right click, we go to add rule and choose selection sets. Here we will select all selection sets we have created within classification folder. First, I will select all from current shell subfolder, and using shift button to select all of them from the first to the last one. And using control button on the keyboard, we can add the one by one selection set from subfolders Site and DI. Click OK and breakdown structure has been created. Option Enable Elements Multiposition is on. And now we generate, we can overview quantity takeoff breakdown structure. I'm going to add count, but we can also add quantities such as area, volume, length. Do right click, choose add quantities, and from the list we choose which properties will be used for quantities. We can add gross volume, gross area, and repeat the same action for each quantity we want to add. We can also set color coding, so we can visualize elements in different colors based on QTO breakdown structure, which is in this case created from classification smart selection sets. Click on OK and QTO has been created. Command for auto-select elements from Qtio is just here within selection drop-down list, and if we check it, elements will be automatically selected in 3D viewport as we make selection of elements in quantity takeoff. Now, when we have created quantity takeoff, we can go further and use it for classification creation. Go to Cost Editor module and click on New Classification. I will just call it Sample Model Classification, single level. And we are going to use Creation Wizard to create classification items from Qtio. Here we define which quantity takeoff will be used. We have only one. Other options for classification item code and name for cost items and routes of measurements will stay as they are defined by default. During Mastering BIM Data Volume 3 and 4, we have explained more in details what each of these options means. It is important here to notice that rules of measurements will be from quantity takeoff, which is based on smart selection sets, so we will have element queries defined automatically. Click OK and our classification is created. I have set to have quantity formula from quantity takeoff gross area with quantity unit square meters and quantity type is area. Let's quickly change here directly in Bexel Manager some of classification items to use volume instead of area for quantity formula. It is possible to export this classification in Excel file format and edit it, then import back here in Bexel Manager. But as this will include only few changes, I will do directly here. I select tilt-up panels, footings, slab on ground and roof, and with right click find the Edit Cost Item option. Within Cost Item Editor, we have information about different values for name, code and description, which is understandable because I have selected 4 different cost items. Okay, within General section, I will change quantity type instead area to volume and quantity unit to be as cubic meters. Within Mapping section, I will change formula. Click on Change, select Fields, and in the right side find property gross volume, which will be set as quantity formula. Click on OK, close Cost Item Editor window, and here we can see changes within our classification. Once we have defined our classification, single level one, we will assign classification items to respective BIM model elements based on element queries, which came from quantity takeoff. Select parent task of our classification and do right-click on it. Click on Auto Assign Cost Items command and we will choose option for creating new cost version. Once the process of assignment is finished, the BIM model is ready for further steps of schedule creation. BIM model elements are now connected with respective classification items, and here we can see assigned cost items and easily can select elements to check which item are assigned to which BIM model elements. Today we will not have cost information, but it is also possible to add for each of these cost items cost information. I will just briefly explain how process of intelligent scheduling works within Bexel Manager integrated environment, which was explained more in details during Mastering BIM Data Volume 3 session. Generally, it is comprised of 2 main processes. First one is spatial project organization or spatial work distribution, and second one is functional or methodological work sequence definition. Spatial organization is project specific, so we will create zones for our sample project we are using today. On the other side, we have methodological work sequence definition. Here we define functional groups of works and their relations. Once the methodology is created, it can be reused in future for the same or similar project types, with small or without any modifications. The main goal is to automate process of schedule creation in any project stage, including pre-construction project phase like we have today, using project-specific zones on one side and methodology on the other side. Combining them in Bexel Manager, the schedule will be automatically generated. In our today's use case, I will load construction methodology, which was created relying on a schedule we have as a main input. Of course, methodology can be edited after loading and saved as a new one. To load methodology, go to Bexel icon in the upper left corner and choose Exchange command. Click on Import and browse the location on the local computer. Click the Open command and check section for import. We check methodologies and click OK. Construction methodology is loaded into our project version. Go to Methodology Editor, where it can be analyzed and edited, of course. We can overview methodology I have just loaded, and here we see how construction sequences are organized and which cost items, based on our QTO classification, are connected to each methodology node. The main principle used for methodology creation is to follow scheduled tasks where we haven't had even defined relations. But methodology relations are created, relations between methodology nodes which represent scheduled tasks. As the zones are project-specific, I will create zones which are related to teams, buildings, and zones within each building. Go to Zone Editor section and click on New Zone command. Here we define zone name. The first one will be for teams. Do right-click within Zone Editor space. Click on New Item and choose Linked option. Here we define reference objects, where we will use selection sets for their creation. Find Teams selection set folder and mark Team A and B. Check Create Relations and click OK. Here we have created zones for teams our project includes. Let's check their relation within schedule. Here we can see that Team A and Team B starts at the same time on the 2nd of September. So I go back and change this relation to B start. Now we should create the zones related to buildings. The steps are the same as with previously explained zone creation. We define the name. Again, we will use selection sets for defining reference objects, but this time I'm going to use selection sets related to buildings, and I will not create relations between them. Here we have zone nodes for each building created. First three buildings are related to Team A, and buildings 4 to 7 are related to Team B. So I will create relations between each of these buildings. Building 1 to 3 are, let me say, first group of buildings, and buildings 4 to 7 are within second group of buildings. If I set relation start between these first three buildings with lag, it would be as it is defined in a schedule. So the lag between building, let me check in a schedule, 1 to 2 is actually 28 days, and between building 2 and 3 is 35 days. So I will just enter the lag between first building 1 and 2, 28 days, and between building 2 and 3 it is 35 days. If we check dates between building 5 and 6, the lag is 28 days. Between building 6 and 4, it is 35 days. And when we check start dates for building 7 comparing to building 4, the lag is 49 days. So the relations between buildings are defined as start with different lags, which is calculated from the initial schedule. I'm going to set lag between buildings 5 and 6, it is 28 days. Between buildings 6 and 4, it is, if I'm right, 28 days also. And between buildings 4 and 7, it is 49 days. Oh, I have made mistake here. I'm sorry, it stayed working hours, so I'm going to change in working days. And finally, we will create zone for zones or phases of each building and use the selection set for reference object. This time I will check to automatically create relations, and at the end we will have zone nodes with relation finish start, just as it should be. We do not have defined zones within initial construction schedule, so our schedule will be more detailed in a way for each building. All works will be divided by building zones. But the dates will be followed as it is defined within initial schedule, so on the first level we will have teams, then on the second level we will divide schedule on buildings, on the third level we will use methodology items, and on the last level we will use zones. To generate our construction schedule, I will use creation template, and let's create one. Click on creation template command, and a new window opens where we can create new template by click on new command. Here we define rules how our schedule will be created. First we enter the template name, like creation template 4 levels, for example, and after that we simply add rules by click on new rule command and choose dynamic option. On the first level we choose zone items and check teams. Then we add new rule where we will use zone items, but this time related to buildings. Now we will add rule methodology items, and at the end we add zone items but related to zones or phases. Let's generate our construction schedule. Click on new schedule command and enter the schedule name. Just call it sample model schedule 4 levels. We choose cost version, actually the only one we have created today. Click OK and go to schedule editor section. Select this created task and go to creation wizard. Here we choose to create our schedule from previously created template. Click load and OK. And here we are. Our schedule is created automatically. It completely reflects previously defined rules. Let's pop out window to see better what we have got. And here we see all schedule, which is divided on tasks and subtasks related to our zones and loaded methodology. To reflect start and finish date of the project compared to initial schedule, and to set the same duration of tasks, scheduled task, we should do some fine-tuning of created schedule. Okay, I'm going to duplicate this schedule to do some changes. We enter the name of our new schedule. Assign cost version stays the same. And first I'm going to set start and finish date, project date. Start date is 2nd of September 2024 and finish date is 28th of November 2025. When we look at our initial schedule, duration for task building pad related to building 1 is 20 days. We select leave tasks related to building pad, and within task editor I'm going to change task duration to be 20 days in total. So we change here within task editor. I will do the same for utilities, where duration would be 40 working days. We select Leave Tasks, and I'm changing task duration within Schedule Task Editor again for this scheduled task. When I set duration, now I'm going to set relations. Looking to my second screen here, utilities should start 14 days after building pad. So I will just enter lag within relations section here in Task Editor for utilities to start 14 days after building pad. I'm going to switch to the same model but version where I have already adjusted all scheduled tasks, and here we can overview how it looks like. It is said that tasks obtained colored from linked methodology items. The task duration is completely the same as it was defined within initial construction schedule. The same is with task start and finish dates, and of course project start and finish date are the same. But comparing to initial schedule, we have one more level which is related to zones for each building. So we have schedule which contains more than 3,000 tasks and with more than 2,800 relations defined. When we go to Schedule Animation module, we can play animation now and see construction simulation of our project in pre-construction phase. Update animation. Schedule view is active, don't forget to do that, and just click play. We see completed percentage which was set within schedule to be shown based on task duration. Elements are colored as methodology items are. Let's go back to the schedule. I have added two new schedule task properties related to teams and buildings. So within schedule settings, we can even change to see task colors based on these custom schedule properties. I'm going to change schedule settings, and for task coloring system, I'm going to use custom property buildings. And all tasks now are colored in colors as it was set within schedule settings. Okay, I go back to schedule animation and update animation. Let's quickly create dynamic camera. Change to display animation instead of tasks here within a schedule animation module. Click on new command and enter the animation name, like just schedule animation pre-construction phase. Click here to set it active. We add new keyframe with right click here, or there is command in this upper part of module. Move slider on another frame position and change in schedule view position you want to be set as a new camera position. Click on Add New Keyframe, and this way I'm going to set several camera positions. You can also check box here to see camera path. There are options to duplicate, edit, update and delete keyframes which have already been created. And okay, just to set one more keyframe here. Okay, and with play, we see schedule animation with, let me say, movie camera, and elements are colored based on custom schedule task property related to buildings. So all works related to one building are in the same color. Within this BIM model version, I have added two more custom breakdowns related to classification item based on selection sets, and one more custom breakdown which is related to teams. So now we can upload our project version to the cloud and see what we will have there. Go to BEXEL CDE tab and click on New Version command. The publishing wizard opens where we follow steps for publishing our project version to the cloud. First, we choose project where our new project version will be published. Here we define project version name. Click on Next command, and here we should define publishing options. I will publish all elements our project includes, and we should define how our project will be divided. Beside options to divide our model by source and by category, there is option to divide by selection sets, and I will divide our model by selection set folder which I have created, and it is structured in a way we will have buildings and classification works for each building. So our BIM model will be divided in multi-levels. Go to Next command, and here we choose which selection sets will be published. I will choose to publish all selection sets we have created today, except these selection sets which are created automatically with creation of this project version. Now we define custom breakdowns that will be also published to the cloud with our project version. I will mark all of them. We also choose quantity takeoff for publish, the one we have used for classification creation. Go to Next command, and here we choose schedule for animation, so animation will also be available within our online project version. I selected the latest edited one and click on Finish command and wait for a while until the project version publishing process is finished. Once the process of publishing is finished, we will be notified by email and we go to Bexel Common Data Environment. Within Bexel CDE homepage, we have an overview of general projects information we are involved in and information about project types, versions, companies, project managers, project participants. Click on Go to Projects, and within Listed Project, we find our sample project. Within Project Version list, we find project version we have just published and open it, or just click on link which was received as an email notification that new project version is published. Now the project version can be explored within Bexel Common Data Environment using online modules which are available. Okay, what we have here. The project version is opened, and I have already clicked to load all sources. So we have section with sources. As our BIM model was divided in multi-levels during publishing process, it allows us to load only desired segment of the BIM model to be reviewed on the cloud. If we want to overview only one building, we can load source related for desired one, but here I have loaded all sources. We can explore our BIM model using quantity takeoff and custom breakdowns module, which is available here, and all published custom breakdowns are listed. So this allows us to color elements in different colors based on rules which were defined during custom breakdown creation within Bexel Manager desktop application. I want to mark here, do not forget to color code custom breakdowns when you are creating them within Bexel Manager. So colors will be available here on the cloud with your created custom breakdown. We have also here quantity takeoff, classification QTO, only one within today's case, with classification items and volume and area quantities for each classification item. Within Bexel Viewer, element properties inspection is available using property inspection command, where we can use filtering option to select elements based on property values. Published selection sets are also available here, and they can be used for easier selection of BIM model elements and for overview of different analysis results within our cloud-based solutions, like property checker results or automated creation of selection sets using scripts within Bexel Manager desktop application, like we explained during previous sessions. Also, we can improve collaboration with other project stakeholders, sharing this online project version and sharing BCF file created here within Bexel Common Data Environment. Section with reports is available, and here we can add new reports, and all participants with certain access rights can access and overview them. We have schedule animation module, which allows us to play schedule animation which was created within our desktop application. We choose schedule for animation. Animation mode is on. Custom breakdown is set as we want to color BIM model elements in Bexel Viewer, and just click on play animation. Also, here we have animate opacity option. So if we turn it on, during the animation, the elements will change opacity. Here we have an overview of works for our project in pre-construction project stage. If we want to animate camera, turn this option on, and we will have schedule animation with animated camera, just like it was defined within our desktop application. Elements are colored in different colors based on property related to building in our case. Let me change custom breakdown to show zones in different colors, and we can play animation again. Pause it and check works on specific day. We can change animation duration here also. Now I'm going to present you one customized Power BI dashboard with integrated 4D schedule animation within it. As the basis, cash flow analysis template was used because it catches all information about schedule our BIM model includes. Power BI report publishing process and the process of creating embedded reports were explained within our previous sessions, Mastering BIM Data Volume 2, 3 and 6 for sure, and also how we can customize Power BI template and use all data layer which is exported from Bexel Manager project version. Comparing to initial template, I removed from all visuals information related to cost. But I have included information related to schedule activities, including activity names, their quantities, quantity units, and quantity types. There are filters which can be used for filtering data by buildings, zones, and teams in our today's demo case. I have also added filter related to quantity units, so we can easily filter all elements which are calculated in different quantity units. Table on the right side contains scheduled tasks, and there is also information about scheduled task start date and finish date. Table down here contains scheduled activities. We can change color schema. If I select only one building, we can see all scheduled tasks and activities related to selected building. We can go deeper, and beside building, we can filter desired zones, and here we see tasks our schedule includes related to certain zone or zones if we select more than one. Of course, the animation is also available within this dashboard. Using timeline, we can navigate our construction simulation to desired date and overview works that should be completed until the selected day. Also, within Bexel Power BI Visual, we can explore our model and inspect property values. To conclude for today, implementing BIM in early project phases enhances collaboration, improves decision-making, it helps in aligning the project vision with stakeholders' expectations, and sets good foundation for the subsequent phases of the construction project. Through today's workflow, we visualize the construction sequences, which could also help us to identify potential scheduling conflicts. Thank you all for your attention. Today I'm going to close Mastering BIM Data sessions and to thank once again on all the received comments and questions and all suggestions we have got from you. Stay tuned and follow us in the future. I wish you all to have a successful end of this year and have nice the rest of the day. Goodbye.